So this is Senator Warren promoting and endorsing Zohran Mamdani. He is the infamous now socialist candidate in New York City.
The issue is affordability. Do you know how many working families are chased out of New York City every day because they can't afford housing, they can't afford groceries, they can't afford child care to live
Nobody
here?
disagrees with that, Senator, but raising taxes in order to do it?
Oh,
Why
my
is that
goodness.
the answer?
Oh, dear. Are you worried that billionaires are going to go hungry?
No, I'm worried that they're going to leave and spend their money elsewhere.
You know, they've threatened to do that over and over and over.
And they have. They've left.
She has no idea what actually happens in reality, evidenced by history, when you start cranking up the taxes.
People in the chat saying, who cares if billionaires want to stay? How many billionaires are there compared to normies?
I love you guys, but that's full retard. It is a total misunderstanding of how tax dollars are paid. So the reason that you care about whether billionaires leave or not is it will determine the amount of tax dollars that you have to spend in the state. The wealthy basically pay all of the taxes, full stop. I don't know, there's like 136. That number is directionally correct, if not literally correct. Billionaires in New York, if enough of them leave, it will have a substantive impact on the tax revenue. Once you start getting into what they call capital controls, where you tell the billionaires, you can't leave, you are now an authoritarian dictator. You're the bad guy.
But let's do that next step, because I think what a lot of people are saying is like, okay, well, the billionaires can leave. That's going to open up opportunities for us. What would the city of New York lose? How would they not benefit from people fleeing? Give me the second
If billionaires leave, what happens?
If billionaires
you
leave,
can't pay for things. You have to start neglecting things. Let's look at what happened to the Bronx. Like when people think of the Bronx as like, oh my God, it's like this really hard place. It did not have to be this really hard place. It became this really hard place because of rent controls. And so they went in and they said to the owners of those buildings, you're not going to be able to raise the rents. And the building owners were like, but hold on a second. The plumber's not going to suddenly charge me less because rents are controlled. If I need to do physical repairs, the contractors aren't going to charge me less. The building costs don't change, but now you're telling me that I can't make enough money to cover it. And so they start not repairing things. So if you want to watch New York fall into a state of disrepair, they'll start cutting things like police departments, fire departments, social work. Like you just start cutting all the things that cost money. So you start looking at your P&L as a city and you go, what can we afford? What can we not afford? Unlike the federal government, which can just print money ad nauseum, the local governments can't do that. Now they'll appeal to the federal government for sure, but then the money's still going to be printed and sent to them. In the world's financial center, for you to not be able to generate the tax revenue that you need is literally ridiculous.
Billionaires leave, where would they go essentially? Because I remember when we had
They'll go to a red state. They'll go to Florida. They'll go to Austin. It's Miami, Tennessee, or Austin.
While we see capital flight happening, we'll find the biggest impact to city services and things like that. But a lot of people are still kind of like, yeah, it's cool, we'll be all right.
Are these New Yorkers saying, yeah, it's cool, it'll be all right? Or are these people in Wisconsin who are like, yeah, it'll be all right? Yeah. When I look at this, I really want people to understand there's cause and effect in the economy. Taxes is a huge part of this cause and effect. Balanced budget, huge part of the cause and effect. The reason you can't afford a house, which is devastating. If you can't afford a house, you, like the generic you, if you can't afford a house, you are in trouble. If you're the president, if you're in Congress, you're in the Senate, there should be a few like alarm bells that you just put on your mirror so that you see them every morning. And it's like, can somebody working like the median paying job, can they afford a median house? And if the answer is no, it's like alarm bell, because that is the only asset that people understand intuitively. So you know, okay, if I'm the senator or whatever, and I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, okay, why is this an alarm bell? It's an alarm bell because we have modern monetary theory. I won't even ask people to abolish the Fed. We have modern monetary theory. That means that we're in a high inflation environment. People want to think 2%, it's no big deal. First of all, it's not 2%. In the last 5 years alone, it's been 25% at least. Some people say the real number, once you stop messing with the CPI, is closer to 100%, but whatever it is, they're taking all of the technological deflation plus at least 2%. And so you are losing money over time. Forgive me for using these words, but smart money understands, oh, I'm in an inflationary environment. I have to be in assets. Cool. So they just put their money in assets. As we print money to do deficit spending, then the asset prices are going up and I'm stealing buying power. So you get this like double whammy. Now, they may more or less balance each other out, but given how we're able to actually, other factors have led it so that wages are stagnant to possibly trending down and asset prices are going up. It's technically that delta that puts them out of reach. Anyway, this is where the complexities cause people problems. You get a delta.
Yeah.
In an inflationary environment, you get a delta between asset prices and how much people are able to afford. Once you break the only asset that people understand intuitively, that means the vast majority of people will not own any assets and they will get eaten alive by inflation. Think of owning assets as owning a mosquito net wherever in the world you find the most mosquitoes and people dying of malaria. So it's like, cool. You know, I've got a mosquito net, so I don't care. Or maybe I've even had my shot of quinine, so I'm not going to get sick from malaria no matter what. But all these other people, they are going to get eaten alive. They are going to get malaria. That is for sure. If you are in that position, you have to have that alarm on your mirror. So every day you remind yourself, in a modern monetary setup, people must be able to afford a home. You can have one or the other. You cannot have both. You can't have a modern monetary system and a place where the median income does not buy a median home. You can't do it.
People shouldn't have so much money that them leaving would destroy our economy. There are people willing to make millions instead of billions and billions.
He's already wrong. And this is where I'm like, oh, okay. We really, really, really have to understand the difference between income and wealth. Known or unknown to him, he has switched over into wealth. When you talk about billionaires, you're not talking about income. You're talking about wealth. When they transfer, look, they can do loans and stuff like that, but we've got to separate that out. When you take somebody like Elon Musk, who liquidated a bunch of his stock, he was almost certainly the largest taxpayer of all time. He's paying his taxes, okay? What they're bothered by is that these guys on paper have this insane level of wealth, but people confuse that for income. And so all hell breaks loose. Now, if people want to focus in on the delta between what an average worker in a company makes and what the CEO makes, and that ratio, how it's gone from like 20x to like 450x or whatever, okay, cool. We can talk about that, but that has different causes. The reason that these prices are going absolutely crazy is we have made this shift where we've got the new railroads, okay? The new railroads are Facebook, Instagram, X. It's in this modern era, everybody wants to know behavior. So they need that data, or AI. They need that data, okay? That's made these companies insanely valuable. It's the new oil. It's crazy thing is Brian Johnson, of all people, that Brian Johnson, came on the show 9 years ago and said data's the new oil. And I remember at the time thinking, this guy's out of his mind. That doesn't even make any sense. He was right. So you've got these companies, they're worth a fortune. And if you look at the stock market, you've got the S&P 493, I'm not kidding. It's doing like 2% growth. That's a tragedy, a literal national tragedy. And then you have the Meg 7. Seven companies that do all of the gains. Once you start parsing all that out, then it's like, okay, these guys invented oil, railroads, whatever. So you can't be too mad. It now generates all this data. That's incredibly lucrative. Everybody has a chance to buy into these stocks, just most people don't. Now it's like those things are going to the moon because they're valuable and because we print money. And that drives the value of these assets up. Because they created the company, they own the stock. It's all mythical. It's not real yet. And so when we look at the $452 billion, that's their stock ownership. Go buy some of it from them. Like if you believe in it, go buy some. If people would separate out the wealth versus the income, you have access to the wealth, you choose not to do anything, or you do it poorly, unfortunately. A lot of people just don't know how to invest, but you can. And so the question is, are you?
We talk about wealth and debt and money printing as the biggest problem to the middle class right now. We talk about to get out of that situation, we need a beautiful deleveraging. One of those beautiful, and on those 4 points of beautiful deleveraging, we do have to raise taxes. Yeah. So what is that balance between what Mamdani's trying to do by raising taxes in New York and Ray Dalio's philosophy on the wealth redistribution?
I'm going to talk as if Ray Dalio were millennial. Listen, bro, people gonna people. And if you take all of their shit, they're going to stop producing or they're going to leave. So listen, we're going to have to tax them more for sure. But if you're not careful, they leave. Mamdani's like, that's my shit. I'm going to take it. As if they won't leave. It's crazy. When Ray Dalio talks about a beautiful deleveraging, he is screaming from the rooftops. Each of these 4 levers is dangerous. When you pull them, you must be so careful. You do it a little bit and you watch and see what happens. Then you pull the next one and you watch. And he was like, 2 of them are deflationary and 2 of them are inflationary. And you gotta like, like balance them so that you can move forward. If this was easy, everybody would do it. It is extremely dangerous. Most people that try beautifully deleveraging, like you end up breaking the economy somewhere. And so you have to be so thoughtful. What people are missing is the psychological factor. The elites are just as dumb and emotionally steered as the rest of us. Trigger them at your peril. So yeah, and people don't like that. I get it, but nonetheless, it is true.
So Mamdani is trying to grasp at something. I remember you used to say, groping in the dark, trying to feel our way through. So he knows that there's something wrong with this system. We need to figure this out. One of those levers he is banging on, so maybe he's just adjusting that lever a bit too much.
Here's how I see it. Mamdani comes to me and he says, Tom, my wife and I, we're just really struggling in our marriage right now. I cannot for the life of me figure out what it is. We've talked and I love this woman. And so I just want to put forward an idea. Let me know what you think we should do. I'm going to start choking her a little bit. Like not a lot, but just like a little. You know what I mean? Like if she gets out of pocket, I'm just going to choke the bitch like a tiny bit. And I'm like, the fuck are you talking about? That is like the worst possible thing that you could do. I get that there's a problem, but the solution you are proposing is madness. It's the thing that won't work. It's not like one of the things that won't work. It's the fucking thing. It's the thing that will have her run for the fucking door. I get it. Relationship problems are real. We have to solve them, but there are physics to this stuff. And once you can map out, like just look backwards. Look backwards in history. In the 1950s, we had a top tax bracket in America of 90%. Okay, this is what everyone's clamoring for. Tax the rich. As I tell entrepreneurs in Impact Theory University, sign up today. If you're about to do something, ask, has anybody ever done this well before? Look backwards. What can you learn? In the 50s, when we had the 90% top tax bracket, we collected less money per taxpayer than we do now. It doesn't work. So I get that people don't like that, but nonetheless, that is true. When we talk about Ray Dalio wanting to pull the tax lever, what he's saying is you're going to do this briefly. You're going to do this recognizing if you do it too much, people are going to flee. And you're going to do it in concert with the other things that you have to do. Because when you pull that lever, the economy begins to stall. So you have to do other things that stimulate the economy. And if you just tax the rich, it stalls the economy. It does not do the thing that you hope it will do.
People don't understand the wealth versus income thing. They get stuck on that.
We need to break down the wealth.
The wealth versus income?
Yeah, Tom, your wealth versus income explanation may be correct, but it comes across as a terminology trick to the average person.
Oh man, I'm so glad he said that. Thank you. I thank you guys very much for giving me the opportunity to clarify. Think of it this way. Income is actual money. Wealth is maybe money. Maybe it will have value, but we don't know yet.
Why maybe?
Wealth is only potential. Wealth is I own an asset that maybe I could sell for this amount. And so people go, when they're clocking how much wealth you have, they go, if you could sell this and sell it right now, and the act of selling all of it didn't actually diminish the value of the thing, then it would be worth this much. Okay, that's a lot of ifs. When they sell that thing, then they will pay taxes. To turn the potential into actual usable dollars that you can spend, the only thing you can do is take out a loan or sell it.
The loan is where the beef comes in.
Loan
that's
is
the beef.
People, yes. And if you're going to have beef with anything, have beef with the loans. However, since the vast majority of humanity is going to be like, but wait, I need to be able to take a loan out against my house. That's what a mortgage is. And the bank goes, well, your house is worth something. Your house is an asset. Your house is, say it with me now, wealth. So you go, okay, I bought my house, but I don't want to have to pay full price for it. So the bank goes, yeah, word, it's valuable. Let's go in it together. We're going to buy this thing. You're going to put a down payment. So I know there's some liquidity here in case I have to take this thing from you, that I know that I'm going to get that value. But like it does have value. So I'm going to let you take a loan against it. So unless you want to destroy the poor and middle class, where the only asset that they understand is a house, by saying you can no longer take a loan against an asset, you're in suicide territory. So you've got to say, okay, this is the thing that we do. Now, because we are in an inflationary environment, that thing, that magical thing of being able to take the loan is modern monetary theory, okay? It's the magic. It's the reason that modern monetary theory is a trade-off and not just bad. As much as I enjoy villainizing modern monetary theory, look around you. This is the world that it gives you. Not bad, except for we are inching towards the guillotine. So it's like, it's a dance. We want the benefits, but we don't want to be at 122% of debt to GDP. That's crazy. And that's just government debt. When you look at corporate debt and individual debt, oh my God, it gets insane, especially now with burritos on layaway, right? It literally is madness. Okay, are people with me yet? On an intellectual level, they may still feel that there's something wrong that I'm not explaining yet. Cool. But are people with me on the wealth is potential money, but income is actually in my bank?
They're with you on the explanation. I don't think they're understanding the risk involved. So if you can borrow against the wealth, it doesn't make a difference. You're still spending the money today. But then if you borrow against the wealth and then your assets go to zero because people won't buy it, if it doesn't work out.
Okay.
Then you have to owe it. But that's like a credit. It's like,
well, ask yourself this question. Why did people commit suicide in 1929?
because the stock market crashed.
Why is that a problem?
Because I'm over leveraged.
Correct. I'm not at zero. I'm at minus some insane amount because I bought all of this stuff on debt. And my assumption was it was going to go up. So I bought it on debt. This is why people freak out about easy money. Easy money means low interest rates. If I can get money at 2% and I know the stock market returns 5 to 7%, then I'm going to loan money all day, or I'm going to borrow money all day, and I'm going to put it into the stock market. And I'm going to capture the delta. The bank gets their 2 or 3%, and I get the delta between the 3% and the, let's say it makes 7%. I get that 4%. I'm laughing all day, every day. Now, that's available to anybody that's able to, I am not telling you to do this, trust me when I say, but you can get a Robinhood account and start trading on margin. Mm-hmm. Wild, because it's so dangerous, but nonetheless true. People like Michael Saylor are going to tell you that there are going to be times where there is a bet. So I don't know that he would use the word guaranteed, but boy, oh boy, does he go hard in the paint, where you should, and he has said this, mortgage your house and get Bitcoin, because whatever it costs you, you are going to make so much more on Bitcoin than you would make on that house, that like you're just way better off gambling the house again, or gambling the money that you have in the house against the Bitcoin. The reason that I do not do this, I owe exactly $0.00, is because it's a risk. And hey, if you've got risk appetite, great, go for it. But it is a risk. And the number of people that get liquidated is terrifying. When you hear about these kids, they're like 17, they're in Wall Street bets, they trade on margin, and all of a sudden they're 17 and they owe $350,000. That's how it happens. And they eat a gun. I don't have that appetite for risk, and I got a lot of fucking money. So what? People need to chill the fuck out. They need to understand some people are gonna play that game. I get it. It's a game to be played. And if you're that savvy, go for it. But yikes. Be careful.
Putting it in plain terms, I had a really specific example of this. My mom is in the middle of a construction project. We finally figured it out, but at the onset of it, we needed additional money to leverage it. A friend of mine does HELOC homes, home equity line of credit. You can borrow against the margin in your house. Because the house was a construction loan, we couldn't get a HELOC. He was like, well, if she has a 401k, we can loan you up to 90% of your 401k. Yeah. So if you have $100,000 in the bank, they'll give you $90K up front. You just have to pay it back, the entire $90K, plus I think it was another 6% or 8% or something at that time. To Tom's point, it's not like they're getting this loan and it's free money and they're just walking away. Elon Musk hypothetically is getting up to 90% of the $26 billion in stock that he just got. but he still has to pay back all of that within a certain calendar year.
Plus interest.
Plus interest and things like that.
Honestly,
So,
I'd be shocked if he was borrowing against his stuff at that rate because he can raise capital so easily.
just this idea of because I have this wealth, I get free money. It's a fallacy.
It does not work like that.
So the mortgage
people
example,
get obliterated all the time. So this is people running into the casino and rolling the dice. Do not look at that as like, this is how they avoid taxes, because yes, they can gamble. It is a gamble. And so some people win off of it. A lot of people lose. Just think of it this way. The house always wins. So be careful.